And we are live again. Welcome to my Snappy Chat. This is all about learning and growing together in business because myself, Christine Bell, I've learned the hard way after 9 years in my own business that it can get really, really lonely. And what I've also learned is that we mostly in small business owners and founders, we go through similar problems and challenges. So we can all learn and grow together. And this is what it's all about. So thank you for coming to my show. I appreciate it. We'll see if anyone is live today. Now, I've got a wonderful person who's coming on to join me, and she's just reminded me that there's only a few weeks left. Well, she will tell us how many weeks. There's not much long before we're at Christmas again, and the year's over and done with, and I can't believe where time went. Anyway, my beautiful guest is Faye Waterman. She is a beautiful, beautiful soul. She is very, very rich on experience in life and understands communication so well. And she's a radio host too. So we'll bring her on and she'll tell us more about herself and we can all learn and grow together. So with no further ado, let's bring you on. Hello, Faye. How are you? Welcome to my show.
Welcome and thank you for having me on, Christine. It's absolute pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm so grateful for you came on. Actually, I was on your radio show about a year ago, and I was always like, I got to get Faye on. I got to get Faye on. You're on my list, and somehow that list disappeared. And then I'm like, holy moly, we need to get Faye on. You're amazing at what you do, and I learned from you because you know how to run a radio show. So tell us a little bit more about yourself, please.
Oh, about me. Oh, well, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm an entrepreneur, and I love life and I love helping people feel good about themselves. That's a little bit about me. Yes.
And there's nothing better than helping others feel good, and it's what we all long for, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. I think we all deserve to feel good about ourselves and to find our magic and brilliance and let it shine on the outside so that people can see it and stop hiding.
Yeah, and I know this is what you are an expert in and you help your clients with as well. And when you bring them on the radio show, that takes a lot of, if we don't believe in ourselves and if we are feeling scared about showing up, going on a radio show is pretty out there, yeah?
Yeah, look, most people say, oh, what are we going to talk about for 2 hours? And they say, don't worry about it. And the 2 hours is up and they say, have we finished? Because it's all about conversation. And I think that's something that's been lost over the last few years, that our connection with others face to face has been lost a lot because we're doing Zooms, we're doing lives on the internet, we message, we email. But how about getting back to that face to face connection? I think is a really important part of who we need to be again.
Yeah, and there's a human need for that. I'm just gonna say hello. We got some wonderful people in the audience. Royce, I'm so pleased to see you here. Thank you so much for showing up. And the same with you, Kelly. We really appreciate you showing up. Yeah, we are live from Melbourne and Sydney today. And my guest here on the show, well, the people in the comments are from the US, which is whilst I love, like you just said, the face to face, what I do appreciate about going online, which I think possibly got pushed along much faster because of the lockdowns. I do appreciate that I'm connecting with people around the world and the US online, yeah, because we can't meet in person yet.
Yeah, and that is a gift that we've been given, that we can go global and meet people from all across the globe, which is really it's magic, and really lovely to meet people from across the other side of the world and have conversations with them and find out what they're actually doing.
Yeah, live as well. It's not like I'm writing a letter anymore. It's actually
Yeah.
live. We can have real interaction. So, while I totally agree with you that we need to bring more face-to-face interaction and energetic interaction that way and connect with each other. We have human needs, don't we? I also really appreciate the other flip, the other side of it, that I can connect with people live in the US or in Europe, at any time pretty much now.
Yeah, absolutely. I am with you 100% there.
Wonderful.
100%. Yeah.
And we've got Yolanda here as well. So welcome, Yolanda. And just a quick shout out. Some of these people I met through the Hounds of Business community and Mike Aschenbrauner. Oh, he's here. There you go. Mike is here. Welcome to the show, Mike. And thank you so much for being a great friend that I met in the US online. We never met in person. And his Hounds of Business community is fantastic if you haven't checked it out. But yes, back to this conversation. You started bringing it up a little bit in terms of you know, when we start businesses and we have to put ourselves out there and we have to learn how to communicate and have conversation and promote ourselves, yeah, it takes a lot of guts, doesn't it? So that's, I know it's one of the challenges that you faced as well, and I faced it too. You should see my first video on LinkedIn. Oh my goodness, was I scared.
Well, when I first started my radio show, and I wanted to start a radio show and a TV show, they were on my bucket list. And I've done the radio show, and that's been around for 9 years. And I remember my first show, I thought, no, who wants to listen to me? What have I got to say that anyone wants to hear? And I was quivering and shaking. And if I'd had a bucket, I would have vomited in it. But 9 years down the track, I've been gifted with so many amazing people come onto my show and share their stories, giving hope to the listeners to actually understand they have a part in life as well, giving them confidence to say, I can step up and I can step out into the world and do something because someone else is doing it. So giving examples of those sorts of things is really important from the conversations that I've actually had. And it's also looking at building that clarity into who you are. And once you build that clarity into who you are, that automatically builds your confidence. And it also builds that connection with who you are as well. Because I think sometimes there are a lot of us out there that aren't really connected with ourselves. And we need to be connected to ourselves and understand who we are before we can go out and connect with others. So it's really important to love yourself and know that you have a magic and brilliance that you can bring to the world and make your life shine and others as well.
I love that so much. And I love that you have yourself learned and grown and put yourself out there. And then with your guests, I imagine sometimes you also need to actually bring them along and make them feel safe and confident. And I just want to shout out because Royce Blake is actually, I believe, a big radio host in the US as well. So maybe he can chime in as well in terms of what he's found in terms of when you bring on guests and you not only have you worked through your own stuff, but now when you get some guests, some of them are probably quite confident, but some might not be. And it's your job to bring them on, just like when I have them on my show. And just a quick hello to Tommy as well. So over to you, Faye. What do you do in terms of helping people when you get people on your show and you can tell beforehand that they're really nervous and we don't know if they're going to have a blackout, you know, where we go blank. Yeah, we all have those blank moments sometimes, but it's not so fun when we're on live.
I think that once you get them and sit them down and they feel comfortable, you've got a safe environment for them, they can then start having that conversation and not really thinking that they're talking to others out there who are listening to them. It's a conversation. I always say, just pretend that you're sitting in a cafe having a conversation with me over a coffee. And the conversation then takes precedent over the microphone that's sitting in front of you and the headset that's sitting on top of your head and the ads that come on and things like that. And they often say, oh, I'm a bit nervous. And I say, oh, don't worry about it. And, you know, the 2 hours is gone and they say, where's it gone? Because they've relaxed. And you know, you get to talk about your experiences in life and share that with the world, share that with people that you would never get the opportunity to, and give those people hope that there is a better world, there is a better life for them by sharing your experiences and showing that you've come from somewhere and now you're here. We have that tendency to self-sabotage a lot of the time.
Oh, yes.
And I think that we need to learn to sit back, take a nice deep breath, and allow us, who we are, to be just that, to be us, and not pretend to be something else. Because I think conformity, we have conformity where we do things to please others all the time. I think it's time now that we step up and we please ourselves. We don't have to hurt anyone else, but please ourselves and do things for ourselves. And then we have the energy, the confidence, the connection to be able to go out and do it for others, teach them to do it for themselves.
I love that. So you had it on your bucket list to be a radio host, and you're soon to be a TV host as well. So congratulations that. I know we can talk a little bit about that at the end in case you want to promote it a bit more, because that's exciting. But I think yeah, it is this whole thing about making yourself comfortable, but then also helping others feel comfortable. And Royce is just saying the secret is asking questions the audience would love to hear answered.
Yeah, so true. And it's well, giving the listeners what they want to hear, and that's really important. And those people that know your show and listen to you every week, and they ring up and they say thank you, or I want to talk to the person that you've been talking to, those sorts of things happen all the time. But it's having the confidence in yourself. When I first started my radio show, I didn't want to be in front of a microphone. I didn't want to be, and now more so on camera and things like that. It wasn't me. I'd always be behind the scenes, doing the stuff behind the scenes and pushing everybody else into it. But now it's my time to be able to do that, so that then I can bring people in and help them build their confidence to be in front of the camera and be in front of a microphone and share their wisdom and their expertise so that the world can hear it. And what they learn from that too, asking the questions so that they can understand that they can do whatever they want to do in life. It's not sitting there and saying, this is my lot in life. It's inspiring them, giving them the courage, giving them the information so that they can step up and step out into the big wide world and do what they want.
I love that. And I want to share a little bit about my experience as a qualitative researcher as well. And I just want to say hello. One of my favorite people I've met on LinkedIn is Brett Packard, and he's in the crowd right now. So I appreciate you showing up, Brett. I really appreciate you. But back to what you're saying, Faye, I have found, and it's also touching on what Royce was saying as well, I don't always know what people want when I do this show, this Snappy Chat, but what I do know from doing, years of qualitative focus group with people is the more I'm able to open them up, the more I'm able to make them feel safe, and the more I'm able to open them up, the greater the insights will be, because they are actually more willing to share from a place of truth, of honesty. And as soon as they start sharing really from a place of truth, of connecting with themselves, guess what? Most often, because they're now sharing from a more heart-centered place, what they're going to come out, I don't know what they're going to say necessarily, but I do know it's going to most likely connect more deeply with the audience too, because as soon as we humans are willing to show up and actually share more honestly, authentically, the more people are likely to want to listen to it and hear it, because it's going to connect with them somewhere, whatever way it is for the person. It will connect with them. When we hear someone speaking from the heart, we tend to connect more. What do you think what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. I think once they start connecting and talking from the heart, then it's real. It's the raw, the real, and the heartfelt of conversation. That's what I say. And people will connect with you when they know that you're authentic, that you're being genuine and you're not putting on a mask and pretending to be something that you're not. I find that a lot on social media, that there are a lot of people wearing masks. And I always say, we know we have a perception about who we are, but then when you ask someone what they see in you, they see something totally different. And it's really interesting to ask someone, how do you see me? And it's really interesting because I did this test a few months ago and asked people how they saw me. And I never saw myself like what they, what I see me, how they saw me.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, it made me step back and take note of their perception of me and my perception of who I am as well. So it's really interesting when we go on social media and we do things like that, Christine, it's all about being genuine. It's all about sharing and caring and speaking from the heart and not pretending to be something that you're not.
Yeah. And sometimes we can't necessarily control how other people see us. And sometimes they will see us, in a positive light, and sometimes they may not, depending on what's going on in their life or what we trigger in them. It's all about, learning and growing personally too. I just want to say hello to Randy House. He's amazing. He's a lovely, lovely guy. And Shafiq is here as well. So I love this conversation because it's about being honest, it's about being real. It's about also feeling safe to actually open up. And for me, I find that, and I would love your thoughts on this too, as a radio host, as a soon-to-be TV host, how do we help make people feel safe when they come on? Yeah, because for me, it's all about making them feel safe and comfortable, even though it's all a little bit scary. Yeah.
Oh, look, you know what? You get a little bit nervous. I got a little bit nervous this morning before coming on here because what do you expect? What's going on and things like that. And I do get a bit nervous. And on the radio, it's just a natural thing for me now. But when I first started it, it was like, oh, another show. Let's do this. I started playing music first up, and I thought, that's not for me, not for me. And conversation was where I sat comfortably.
Yeah.
And when I have conversations with people, it's all about learning about who they are. But it's not just about that. It's actually learning about yourself, because you see yourself in others or they see themselves in you. And that's where the judgment comes in as well. And thinking about, I just love the conversation to be real and raw and honest and authentic, and bringing people in, creating an environment where it's safe and comfortable for them to actually talk from their heart is really important.
Yeah, exactly. And I think also, with radio shows and stuff, we're gonna miss up, Half the time suddenly this shows up StreamYard. Well, they just upgraded me. There was no other option. They literally took out their lower offer, yeah. More expensive, but now I'm actually on full HD. So hopefully this won't happen so much more often, which is I've been pixelating a lot on this, or the internet doesn't work, etc. And the StreamYard, and it's like, holy coly. You still have to show up and still smile and go, and afterwards you go, oh, that didn't look so good. That wasn't so great, yeah. But it is live, and you have to laugh at that. And another point I wanted to make, I know you want to say something, so I'm going to let you talk. But another point, two different points is there's a difference between being a guest and being the host, isn't there?
Totally. And being the host, and when things go wrong, you have to just suck it up and say, oh, this has gone wrong. Let's deal with it. I mean, sometimes when COVID, when the pandemic came, and I wanted people, I love to see people face to face when I'm having a conversation with them. So on my radio show, I use Zoom so that I can see them, but they also go through the airwaves as well. And it was like seeing the expressions on their face, seeing, how they feel and their reactions to different things. But when things go wrong, they just go wrong. So you've just got to suck it up and deal with it and move on. And, they might drop out on Zoom, or you can't hear them. And so you've got to ring them on the phone and get them on the phone and deal with that while you're trying to keep the conversation going. And that can be fun at times, and that's happened. And I just get the giggles because it's life. It's life.
It is, and it's okay. It happens to the best of us. Yeah, we just gotta kind of smile and laugh. Randy's saying we just gotta laugh about it, and it's so true. We just gotta get on with it. But I also find that I actually, I come from a qualitative research background, so I'm very comfortable asking questions. Yeah, I'm not as comfortable being the guest, and it's interesting. Mike Asher-Brown has a great show as well, which is his Wednesday night, our Thursday morning, and it's all about Hounds of Business community show, and it's always very interesting. But I've been on his show a couple of times, like I've been on yours radio show as well, and it's it's a little bit more uncomfortable when you're sharing about yourself as the guest, I think, sometimes.
Oh, yes, because you don't have to worry about the things that go wrong. It's the host that has to worry about those things. It's a bit like you being on here. And if something goes wrong, as you said, the pixelation and things like that. But it's about allowing it to happen and showing that we're human and things do go wrong. It's how we deal with whatever it is that goes wrong.
Yeah.
And not making a big deal about it. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
It
And when
makes
you're a guest, when you're a guest, you're sharing about yourself and, it is what it is. And you never quite know what you're going to say 100%. You can try and practice it, but the reality is it's better not to practice anything and just show up and see what you feel like you're saying. If you connect with yourself, like you said earlier, and you learn to connect, you just got to trust what comes out of your mouth is what's meant to be said. Yeah. Including mistakes and
absolutely.
whatever else.
Yeah. It's having the confidence in you to know that you're real, you're raw, and people either like you or they don't like you. And that's not your problem. That's not your
Very
problem.
good point.
Yeah. And, some people like you and some people don't like you, and you can't do anything about that. So we are all human, and we don't like everybody. We don't like opinions. It's a bit like I'll have an opinion and you'll have an opinion, and they may differ. But who's to say what's right and what's wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as we can still stay open and listen to each other. And that's my only fear about society right now. We seem to be shutting down a lot of stuff instead of having open conversation, which means it doesn't mean we're not thinking it. It means we're not allowed to say it. And guess what? We are not going to fix it.
No, society there's an expectation there, and it's all about, someone's opinion. We're having protests and things like that. Does everyone in the protest understand what they're protesting about? I would say, my opinion, no. There are some that just want to be there and create havoc. But an opinion, we can have an opinion. We can look up Dr. Google and get an opinion from them, but that's only someone's opinion as well. So stick to your opinion. If you believe what it is, be reasonable about it, but your opinion is your opinion, and we have to learn to accept that and to agree to disagree. Doesn't matter.
It's so important that we stay critical in our thinking and we don't all end up adhering to groupthink, because that way nothing is going to progress in this world. I just want to touch on something Roy said. It makes you real, especially in the age of AI. So true. And I always say, people say, oh, AI, and they're so excited about it. I'm excited about it too, not because I use AI, but because I believe the more people use AI, the more we have a need for human connection. And I'm all on the human connection. So I'm excited for AI too, for the different reason.
Well, when AI came out, I'm thinking, I don't know whether I like this. It's been around for years, but it's only become prominent over the last while. And I think if it's used sensibly and used in a way that will help people, then go ahead and use it. There's nothing wrong with it as long as it's used well and in the right.
Oh, it's got great benefits. Like if you look at what they can do in terms of people who couldn't walk, and suddenly there's so many fantastic benefits to AI.
Yeah.
But what the opposite trend is the human connection. And I think, this is where we want the balance. We want the best of AI and the best of human connection. Yeah.
I think we've got to keep that humanness, if I can say that, real. We can use the AI and make it work well for us and do all that sort of stuff, but we have to maintain that human connection, because that's what people are looking for. They're looking for that human connection.
Absolutely. And never stop thinking for yourself. Do not ask AI or anyone else to think for yourself, because AI can also be manipulated. Yeah. So I think it's really, really important that we keep thinking for ourselves and we stay true to who we are, because otherwise we'll lose that connection to ourselves, which is what you're talking about being so important. Yes.
I'll share an experience very quickly. I was doing a radio show and I was talking to someone about AI, and they were talking about the benefits of something that's being developed in the health and wellness area. And this lady rang up after the show and she abused the hell out of me, because she said, AI is going to be taking jobs away and it's going to be doing this and it's not right and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, do I respond to that or do I just let it go? And I just let it go. I thought,
Smile.
Okay, that's her opinion. That's her opinion. I'm not going to come back with anything, because whatever I said to her, she wasn't going to hear anyway. So I let it go. But, she had the courage to ring up and voice her opinion, which is fair.
If that's what she needed to do to feel better about herself, all good, as long as she wasn't too abusive, No one likes to be abused, but other than that, feel free to talk and share what you think. It's all going to make the life more interesting and more exciting. Absolutely. So we're going to be finishing up now, although I could speak to you for 2 hours, but we're not doing that on this show. I want you to share about a little bit more about what you do, your radio show, your new coming TV show, anything. Are you looking for people to come on? What's this, how can we promote you?
Thank you. Well, what I do is I have my radio show, which I'm now taking global, and I have a podcast which is called What's Your Superpower, which is all about bringing out the magic and brilliance in people, them recognizing their magic and brilliance, their superpowers, and the ones that are stuck that we bring out as that conversation goes. So that's why I brought that out, so that people, we do, we're working hard, but we don't ever give ourselves the time to recognize how good we are at what we do. So that's why I do that show. I have a virtual coffee cocktail conversation lounge, which I run once a month. It's not about business. It's about connection. It's about coming in and sharing something quirky about who you are, something fun, something that someone else that we don't know about you. And it's all about connecting, laugh, and fun. That's on Friday at 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And,
which is good for the US, by the way, if you're in the US listening. That's a good time. That would be your Thursday night.
Yeah. So it's 7 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. If you go onto my LinkedIn, you'll find it, register and come and share. And I am starting a TV show. The first show will be in December, and it's all about education, information and inspiration. And what I said earlier, it's about giving hope to the viewers that they can understand that, oh, okay, that's not my lot in life. There is other things that I can do, giving them the opportunity to take action and make their lives better. And there will be things like health and wellness, which is a huge area. There'll be legal issues, things that we don't understand. If you go to a lawyer and you don't know what questions to ask, you don't want them to take control of what's going on. You need to understand it. So there's all that sort of thing. Another legal issue is when you retire and you see change and tree change, don't go and move somewhere when you really don't know what the place is like. You've only been there for a holiday. You need to experience it first, because it's a costly business to come back to where you came from. Things like real estate, looking at how you manage when you go to an auction, or using a buyer's advocate, how people can inform you, to all that sort of stuff. I'm going to have astronomy because I like astronomy. So there's lots and lots of things there. And what I want to do is give the viewers hope and inspiration that they can have a better life.
I love that. And it's all about empowering people, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. And it's a 30-minute show. I was going to go for an hour, and then I thought, no, I'll go for 30 minutes to start with. It's on Channel 31. It's a community TV. And so if anyone's interested in coming on, then contact me and let's have a conversation about that, because I want to empower people. That's my passion, is for everyone to feel good about themselves and pursue the life that they deserve and want.
I love that so much. And we're gonna finish up here. Okay, we got, I think it's Sarah, I can't see her name, astronomy. She said that's right in her space. She's actually used to work, I think, for the Space Force or something like that. She was in NASA. I can't pronounce NASA. I can't pronounce things correctly. Mike is probably waiting for me to say target markets. I'm just gonna put that out because that's funny how I pronounce it. And his time conversion, 7 a.m. at the moment in the eastern US is 5 p.m., but it will be changing.
Yes.
Soon it will be 3 p.m. in December. It will be 3 p.m. So anyway, so great to have you on. I really appreciate you. I highly encourage everyone who is on here today watching this as a replay, which many do. Feel free to reach out to Faye, connect with her. If you want to be on a TV show, maybe even her radio show, connect with her. You never know where this is going to take you. And if nothing else, you're going to have an amazing conversation with Faye. I can promise you that, because we had a 2-hour show last year on your radio show, and it just went so fast. Yeah, we could just have kept going. You there?
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
It's welcome. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone here. We really appreciate your time and being here and connecting with us. Thank you so much, Faye. I appreciate you.
Bye for now.
Industry.